Hey, what's up, yo? What's up? The Street Gigolo by popular demand. Yo, the Street Gigolo. Well, basically, any level of gigolo, they are that because the game is totally inverted. Like men trick on women that might make them sex workers, or even acculturated prostitutes. Well, you have an equivalent with men. You have a certain class of men that can only deal with a woman, that will only deal with women that bring gifts or provide money. And these aren't necessarily pros. In fact, I talked to cousin T-Taw, and I'm gonna put a link for his YouTube channel. We're gonna double team this. So I'm gonna deal with the street level. He's gonna deal with the high level, right? Excuse me. And I got allergies and whatnot. But to understand the gigolo, or a man like that, whatever term you want to use, first of all, everybody can't do it. Everybody can't do it. A man to get money out of women, for women to trick on him, he got to have 2 out of 3 things. That's 2 out of 3 things. If he got all 3 things, oh shit, that motherfucker dangerous. In fact, he ready to go pro. 2 out of 3 things. He have to have an extremely handsome face. Maybe. You don't have to, but if he has an extremely handsome face and a decent body, not a dad bod or not overweight, but at least a decent body. Extremely handsome, decent body, and in that extreme handsome, maybe like eyes that stand out, pretty eyes. Like women look at him, got pretty eyes, or he might have long hair, or if he in a black community, that quote unquote good hair. That's some bullshit. That's another video. But if you have a certain look to him, like women look at him, damn, he fine. And he gotta have a decent body with that. If it's just his face. He don't necessarily have to be super muscular, but he gotta have a decent body. Usually a decent slim build. Not like too skinny, but like decent. If he's just going on the face. Now then you got some other guys, they more average looking in the face, but they got those prison bodies. They got a killer body. Like if they go out in public, they stand out. And that looks thing is important. And speaking of looks things, I know somebody watched this. See, I knew it was looks. I knew it was looks. Man, you got less than 5%, and I'm being generous with saying 5% of the population who got it like that, as far as looks. As far as a face that stands out. Most dudes are in that middle range. Just maybe handsome to a few women. Probably not extremely handsome to any women, but handsome, generically handsome. Most guys are in that like middle range. Most guys, if you use it on a bell curve of male looks, you got that extreme end, then you got like that, deformed end. And most guys are in the middle, as long as they wash their face and take care of their face. Most guys, if they got good grooming, got generically handsome. So, but this guy might be extremely handsome, or got a killer body and maybe an average face. And maybe a rare case, he might be an ugly, sexy player, like jacked up, but everything else is just so on point that a woman is still deal with. But the thing, regardless of their physical appearance, they gotta have is sex appeal. Now, just to be clear, sex appeal and good looks aren't the same thing. People think it is, but it's not. Because somebody could look like a man could look good, but because he has feminine mannerisms or low self-esteem, or he could be sexually repressed to the point because of religion, trauma, whatever, that he doesn't come off as sexy to a woman. Those are 2 different things. Any woman can tell you those are 2 different things. Any woman, just like with men, sometimes every man who's gone outside of his house and dealt with enough women can tell you there's some women who, they look good. They got a face, body, breast, but they look good, but they're not sexy. Like, you ain't thinking sex. And then you got some women who look average. They might be a little bit overweight, maybe plain looking, but you want to slam them against the wall. So it's that same thing with women. They'll look at some guy, say he's sexy, or they might say he's sexy in his own way if he ain't really handsome to them. But if you just look at him on a pure basis, they average looking. So, but the street gigolo, he got to have something on him that stands out physically. Because an important part of what he doing, he got to be seen in public. Now, if he just a dude who just good in bed and women's find him sexy, he just need to come over 12 to 5. But a woman ain't going to trick on that guy. She'll tell him to come over. He ain't going to have to pay to get the, he ain't going to have to pay for the pussy. But at the same time, she ain't going to pay for the dick. So, the street gigolo, though, she is paying not just so much for his dick, but his time. Now, it's important, if a man is doing that, one of the things he can't do, like there's been a lot of talk about cold approaching and choosing signals. He can't really approach a woman and think she's gonna pay for him. Because first of all, if you're approaching a woman, you're paying her price, like it or not. Like it or not. Now I've said I'll do both, but I said I only do one if I think the woman's extremely attractive, like cold approach. Because otherwise you gotta pay her price and you gotta do it on her terms. That's just how it is. So, but if you're talking about getting money out of her, to some extent, what the man got to do is just put himself in a position where the woman can approach him. Now, there's going to be two types of women, two general types, and then there's an interesting exception. Two general types of women who are going to deal with a street gigolo. And just to be clear, that don't necessarily mean she's going to give him money. In fact, she might never give him money. But she might, at the lowest level, you don't have to pay for dates. She'll pay for dates. She'll take them out. She'll pay for everything. And she'll do that consistently. Not just one time just to show she's liberated or something, but consistently. And then, she might start buying him clothes. If she got a place and he don't have a place, she might let him stay there. I have a very good friend. That's really what he's doing. If he see this video, he's going to be like, damn, bro. Glad you didn't call my name. But this dude probably hasn't had a place in years. But he got very accommodating women. It could be something. It don't have to be. It's just like an acculturated prostitute. You may never give him money straight up, but you might, you might pay a bill for him, sponsor, support him in some way, let him drive your car, something like that. It's going to be something, but whatever the case, you're sponsoring them. Now, like I said, two types of women. Two general types of women that's going to deal with. One is the woman who, quite frankly, don't have any game. The first one's the one, she's going to be the type, she might be overweight, she might be plain looking, she might be socially inept. There's a lot of socially inept women. They just really don't know how to effectively deal with a man, so they might come out of pocket. Like, for example, when my son was in middle school, he would come home with candy, gum, everything. I'm like, how you get gum? Because I don't buy him candy. I really don't. But he still come home with it. He say, oh, these girls give it to him. That's where it started. I was just like, I ain't worried about him being taken care of. I really ain't. I'm really not. Yeah. And that's why I say I always got to go up to a school every year and eyeball the teachers, let them know what they got to deal with if he come home and say something. Yeah, I cock block him in that way. Somebody say, you cock block, you damn right. I don't want no old woman fucking his head up. Fuck that shit. Anyway, so, that's one level. It's some woman, she just, she ain't gonna get approached like that. Normally, that's sometimes if you see a real attractive dude, and I think Cousin T-Chaw gonna get into this, because there's some celebrities that's been the case with. Jesse Williams is one, Oprah's another. They'll get that really good looking guy and stuff, even though themselves, they probably couldn't on their own. They probably had to deal with the average guy. And see, that's an important piece to the puzzle, important part of the game. It's not even, and the reason why this ain't a 12 to 5 dude, it got to be a trophy. It's got to be conspicuous that she got him. And some women are willing to pay for it. They can't get them with game, so they'll get that, above average dude, really good looking dude or really buff dude, and then parade them around. That's part of the reason they buy them clothes. You got to look good. And that's one level. Another level is just sugar mamas. sugar mamas, even some cougars. That's another, like, you get some older woman, she kept this, I mean, and she might be kind of attractive. She might be able to get some dude who will still run up in her for free. But see, she wants a certain type of man. She wants that good looking dude. She wants that good looking dude. That pretty boy or something. Once again, the trophy, but she's willing to pay for it. She's willing to sponsor him. She's willing to dress him. And then there's a weird exception. And Cousin Tito, I love it if you could like expound on this. But you get some 100-octane women who might trick off on certain men. Because remember, a lot of times, those 100-octane women are dealing with men they're not necessarily physically attracted to. But they still have vaginas. They still get hot. And remember, the street gigolo got to have two things. Any gigolo got to have two of three things. And the main ingredient is sex appeal. If you don't have sex appeal, the woman ain't going to trick on him, even if he look good. And so you might get some of them on the low. Yeah, they got all these guys sponsoring them, but, they want to have orgasms too. So they'll get with that dude that they find attractive, trust me. Any dude who's not like one of those like high balling dudes who got with 100-octane woman, I guarantee, even if he wasn't on that street gigolo level, he's the type who could be. He's the type that could be. In fact, I would, and I'm seriously thinking this because I always say select, non-select, but honestly, the dudes who on that, even if the dudes, I'll say the dudes who could be on that gigolo level, whether the street level or even pro level, they really in another category, and I've been seeing that. I've always kept to myself that there was another category, and not the real man category I talk about in my books. But I always say, there's some guys, they just kind of outliers. But understand, dudes like that is, and I'm saying generously, maybe 5%, and that's extremely generous. It might be closer to 3% or even 1%. Because after all, how often anybody walking around during the day sees that like really extremely handsome dude, or that guy with the real buff body? And that gets back into like that looks thing, because everybody like, oh, I do, it's just looks. But dude, honestly, and this is just from an overall perspective, if you ain't on that level, ain't the end of the world. That means you with the rest of the 95 to 99% of the population. And it should be common sense that women out here are still having babies, which is the most sure sign they fucking somebody with an average dude. Even with paternity fraud, and a woman, she usually cheating with an average looking dude. So that's why I say don't get into it. But we can't ignore the fact that there's just some guys, they just at another level, and women go and pay for it. And women want that trophy. Women want that trophy because, the guy, if he's smart, like, now the young man, I ain't gonna call him out, but he said, he hit me up privately, said, women think he good looking, but they don't respond when he approaches. That's because he shouldn't approach. If you come to the conclusion that women find you attractive, you can't approach the same way because they think something was wrong with you. Because women know they will chase and they will try to seduce a really good looking man. Even if he ain't necessarily like one of those top dudes. Let's say if he ain't 8 and up, maybe he's a very, very strong 7. Maybe he might need maybe a pound or two here, maybe a different style, maybe a different haircut to get to that, that next level. Guys like that really can't approach women. They can't approach him all the time because the woman's always going to question it. She's always going to say, what's this good looking man chasing me for? But it has to be a situation where he has to be cool. Like, this don't even faze him. Like the woman, she has to have the feeling like she got to do something extra to get this guy beyond giving him sex. She got to do something. She got to put some money in his pocket, buy him something, give him some incentive. So anyway, and what's funny about it? There's so much I could talk about with that. But if you want to have an idea of how the Street Gigolo role, just get one of my first two books, Nice Guys and Players or Sexual Chemistry. Cause yeah, I'll just put it like this: y'all looking at a 54-year-old Rom. Y'all didn't never seen a 34-year-old Rom. I'll leave it at that. So anyway, that's it for now, y'all. That's it for now. Oh yeah, for those who subscribe to Rom TV, the final 2 episodes of Pool Styles will be up tonight, by this evening. They let's say they're converting right now, editing as we speak. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.